So, how is everybody? Austin here, along with Zach and our special unannounced guest, Oscar Ramos. Oscar, welcome, Oscar. How are you, sir?
We're doing good. Thank you, Austin. Hey, Zach. Glad to have you all. And welcome to the Clear Cryptos family. I
Mhm.
hope you guys are ready for a lot of content that is already, getting queued up for you guys. So be ready. So we're happy. What a day today. A bunch of news, right, guys?
Yeah, actually, and if you go to Clear's channel, I may even tweeted this out, Zach and Oscar. The first couple of videos are the first video on Clear goes live in 14 minutes, so that's pretty cool. So, and then there's more coming. So we're officially on that. So yeah, so we've got in the house here. Who we got here? Cat's always with us. Thanks for being here, Cat. Foxy meowing at Cat. There we go. Let's see. So definitely hit the like button. We got about 10 people here live with us, which is cool. So, oh, we've got the man himself in the building. Glenn, welcome. Obviously, Glenn, feel free to give us any relevant, pertinent facts that draw us off of the topic at hand, because that's what you do really, really well. So, and I know you're laughing now because got to have a little shot across the bow there. Oscar, awesome. Good, good, good. Justin's with us. Justin, if you're available, if you want, go into our area back there and you can get a link to join us if you want. So, anybody else? Hobbs, yeah, same. If you want, you know where to get a link if you want to join us. This is just open discussion. We're going to be talking about, well, Zach, what are we going to be talking about today? And no. Here we go. Zach's always like, oh man, seriously, you got to do it in the announcer voice. What are we going to be talking about today? Here we go.
Oh man! All
Here we
right,
go.
it's fun. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about the Fed report. We've also got we could talk about CPI data, we could talk GDP numbers, and we could talk about why the heck crypto is pumping with all the bad news going on. What do you think? Right?
That's on a scale of like.
I didn't really get. I didn't give it the full go.
You didn't get it. You didn't lean into it, man. I think that was Oscar. What do you think out of 1 to 10? I'm going to give it a 3.
All right. So if you want me to, here's what I've got to do. So I got to do like something like I'd be doing like in sports. So, all right, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, guys? Please welcome to the show, Justin.
How's everybody doing?
Something like that.
What's up, buddy?
Oh, you did your intro from your broadcasting days, huh?
Yeah.
So Foxy with me. Luck side, man, he's throwing you under the bus. 1 out of 10, dude. Yeah, there we go. All right, so and then Glenn is coming back. Everyone, please remember Austin started it. Fair enough. All right, so about earlier. All right, so Justin, man, let's. I'm gonna start with you. You're the brand new addition here. Welcome to the show, Justin. Justin, what do you think about today? Crypto on fire, man, but with all of the weird economic data and all the stuff, what's your opinion about what's going on?
I don't think it's so weird. Like, I think yesterday with the Fed, he basically set the ground floor for what happened today, which was set the ground floor to be bullish, right? Like, he calmed down all the recession fears and he did a really good job. I mean, yeah, he kind of danced around a couple questions. We noted that, but however, he made the uncertain certain, so that when GDP came out negative 0.9, we were like, whatever, like this is a bump in the road. We're ready to start buying and get on fire. And that's what happened today. And I couldn't be happier, honestly. Like, I'm not saying that the bottom's put in by any means. We could definitely still see another drop, but I think we're heading in the right direction. And now we're just looking forward to CPI. We want to see CPI come down, because when we see a lower CPI for this month in July, I think that's when we'll start to know that we're coming to the end of inflation, because that's what everybody cares about right now. You know, I think recession is now behind us. Are we in recession? For me, it's up in the air. But I think that the market's ready to get on a tear, and I'm here for it.
Fair enough. So I want to ask you a question real quickly. So obviously you're talking about Chairman Powell's comments, right? Mm-hmm. And do you think that it was the overriding comment of effectively how I said it, that we're in the worst of it and it's going to get better from here? And that's really where you're laying that at, right?
I mean, he literally came out and said we're not in a recession. Now, yeah, I mean, right. It's like, well, by his definition, we're not. By another guy's definition, we are. No matter how you slice it, I think that people feared it, but with inflation coming down and the Fed actually doing their job, I think that gave the institutions enough to be like, okay, we're ready to step back in. And even Watcher Guru had a great tweet. I know Hobbs will probably know the number because I always forget the number, but it was a big number of volume that's come in the last 24 hours on like crypto alone. It's like 39 billion or trillion or something like that. What was it, Hobbs? I know you're the numbers guy.
I think it's like 43 billion.
Something like that. Like impressive numbers for 24 hours.
43 billion in the last 24 hours into the entire crypto market.
Yeah. So just that alone means that people are coming back. And that's what we want to see is people come back so we can push higher.
I agree, Hobbs. I mean, welcome by the way, Hobbs. And
hey, thanks, man. I didn't get the intro.
Yeah.
You can't be
it's cool. It's cool.
It's okay.
It's cool.
He's off his game today, dude.
You know,
I didn't need my intro.
Austin's hosting, so I can't get a word in. Man.
I know. That's right. That's right. Okay, I have a side note. I watched. I jumped on one of Zach's lives the other day, and I rewatched it, which I don't ever do. And I'm like, I keep talking over him, and I literally called him. And I'm like, dude, I owe you an apology. He's like, what?
Yeah.
I said, I kept talking over you, and he's like,
you're probably the worst host I've ever had.
I am.
Of all the shows I've come on, you're probably the worst.
Dude, Austin, just shut the hell up. See, I
just posted in a private chat. Can I please talk?
Can I please talk? Oscar, hey Oscar, shut the hell up. You're talking too much, Oscar, by the way.
I mean, I pretty much echo Justin's sentiment. And you know, what I will say is we've kind of been waiting for July 28th. Like we've been talking about it in the shop for the last, 3-4 months. We've been looking at this economic calendar and we knew that this day was coming. We kind of knew that this was going to be probably the biggest week of the year. I mean, when you look at all of the catalysts that came into this week, I mean, you start with the earnings. 75% of the market that reported this week was the larger institutions, like the 75% of the largest companies reported earnings this week. And we're still not done. We still have oil that has to report tomorrow. Right. You look at that factor and then you look at the fact that we had the FOMC meeting this week. In addition to the FOMC meeting, we had GDP numbers that are coming out that came out yesterday or this morning. Right. Yeah. The next biggest thing that we can look forward to is August, which is going to be the CPI data. Now, the reason why myself and Justin are leaning more toward the bullish category is not because we don't believe that we're not in a recession. Right. The thing is that you have to look at the fundamentals that tells us we're in a recession, but also you have to think about market sentiment. What the Fed chair did yesterday was change the market sentiment, meaning the attitude that the market is going to have. That's what the Fed's job is. Their words can move markets. The words that he used yesterday, when he came out and basically agreed with Joe Biden, basically he wouldn't say that he agreed or disagreed, but when they specifically asked him, were we in a recession? And he said, no, you could we were watching the SPY. Me and Justin was watching it together. We were watching the S&P 500. We were watching the Qs, and you could literally see the Qs start to react to his words because it's algorithmic, right? Mm-hmm. When the Qs and all of those programs start to hear certain words that the Fed says or doesn't say, right? The one thing that he basically said was, we're okay with 75 basis points. We will look at the data and raise it higher if need be, but we're thinking we're fine. What is the data that he's referring to? He's referring to 3 weeks from now when the CPI data reports. Other than that, you look at the economic data, there's nothing in our way for the next 3 weeks. That's why I'm bullish on the market, at least for the next 3 to 4 weeks, whenever we get that CPI data. So looking at the SPY on the movement of the S&P 500 today, it was incredible. Absolutely incredible. I mean, we dropped down to a level of support around 398.27. We hit that level 3 times. We triple bottom and we went bananas. Like anybody that watches the market, like myself and Justin, I know Oscar watches the market as well, but we ran up to about 406. That tells me that the market wants to run, right? We may fall back to if we end the day or even the week above 400, it will be incredible moving forward because that's a bullish sign. We're already looking at year-to-date numbers. We look at year-to-date. When you look at a bear market, you want to see the markets down 20% or more. Mm-hmm. In the last 3 days, we've gone from being down 19, 20% to only being down 14 or 15%. in the year to date. That's how fast the market can transfer wealth, so to speak, right? So when you're looking at those things and you see the market sentiment change, it almost automatically changes the fundamental analysis of the market, and you have to be able to adjust with that. We're not saying that we're ready to go on a bull market. We're saying be prepared, because this bull run or this particular movement is one that has staying power, as opposed to all the rest of them that just move for no reason. This one has a reason to actually stay. So
Oscar, I'm going to throw it to you. What's your, I mean, per what Hobbs, thank you, Hobbs, is awesome. Per what Hobbs just said, Oscar, what are your thoughts right now?
Yeah, sure. So I was discussing a lot of this today, early in the lab, and yesterday, how, well, I mean, talking a little bit more about recessions. I think that's what I want to be starting with. Usually recessions last anywhere from 6 to 8 months. In the last couple of recessions, not including 2020. 2020, we got a recession for 2 months right after the pandemic started, and we got trillions of dollars in the market. The supply went, nuts, and then that's why we got those bull rallies. Right now, my concern is the following. Today, President Biden, after finishing his, talk, didn't take any questions, by the way. He was saying like he's not forecasting a recession, right? That's something that they're trying to redefine, which is pretty weird. But if we indeed are like, I think some people are saying, which I will kind of like hardly believe, that I think a bull run is coming anytime soon. I kind of want to be the bearish guy here and say, I hope I don't. One thing is that I think it's going to be hard for us to see Bitcoin under $16,000, $17,000 for sure. But I don't think we're just ready for a bull run right now. Probably we're, in the vicinity of having a long-weighted sideways trading place where Bitcoin is anywhere from 19,000 all the way to 25,000, and kind of going along those lines until we have some of those CPI data coming down, and we start seeing that inflation is actually being pulled back due to the increases in the rates. Because if that's the case, going back to the official announcement today, we're in recession officially, right? 2 consecutive reports of negative GDP growth. Then if that's when it starts, when it's going to end, usually if it takes like 6 to 8 months, that means that 2022 is cooked for a bull run. But of course, that's what I think, right? Eventually, if we go to the technical analysis, I can tell that, of course, Bitcoin and most of the other altcoins that we follow are going to be looking extremely well 2024 and beyond. But to me, it's hard to believe that we're going to have a bull run in 2022, like an official bull run. But I believe that we can still profit from trading by utilizing the 1 day, 4 hour, trading patterns, and buying when there's a dip, selling when there's a top. I mean, we can make money, but a bull market like when we have with Shiba Inu or Kronos, where the prices went all the way to the roof, I think there's no, I mean, that's what a lot of people are looking for, but I don't think we're there yet.
Fair enough. Okay. Zach, take Glenn's point. I'm going to let you run with that, because I know that's kind of one that kind of goes back to what Hobbs was talking about, the R word, recession. But ultimately it is, and that's what I feel like today's been, is that the consumers, a lot of retail traders are just shaking it off or oblivious. So what's your 2 cents?
Yeah. I think what Oscar said, I agree with a lot of there. And, what's really changed? I guess that's my big question. I mean, we still have a war going on. We still have inflation. I guess some things that haven't really caught up are unemployment, right, and housing. I mean, but who knows? Is the worst yet still to come? And again, I hate to be the bearish person here again. I mean, we're all bullish long-term crypto, right? For sure. But over the next 6 to 8 months, we've got a lot of things working against us, I think. And that's okay. I mean, this is a time to accumulate if you're looking at dollar cost average, like Oscar said. And Hobbs trading, obviously, is always a strategy to make money in the short term. But, I mean, I think what Glenn said, too, election year, all definitions are up for grabs. It's true. You got the elections coming up in November, right? That's why I think we're deciding what the hell a recession even is, right? What the heck's the definition of a recession anymore? there's just a lot of things working against us, I think, in the short term. And here's the other thing the point I wanted to make, Oscar, you made me think of this, is, back when we had the big bull run this last time, it was driven by retail money, right? And I just don't see the retail money coming in this time.
The
right?
volume, doesn't show
the volume, right? It was just insane.
I have to definitely disagree with that point.
Oh, there we go.
I feel like the two of us are down here being the Bulls, and you guys are up there being Bears. And let me preface my state by saying that, like, I can switch at any time, and I know Hobbs can switch at any time. Like, we can become bearish very quickly. That's not a problem. Or bullish. We tend to go on what we see minute by minute, day by day. We've said plenty of times we don't like to forecast too far out, because you just never know. If you would have told me 2 days ago that I was going to see what I see on the charts now, I would call you insane, right? Because I was completely bearish until yesterday, right? Was when I turned to more being bullish. But I mean, it's funny because there are a lot of economic factors in the way. However, at least for me, I slowly seeing them either decrease or people just don't care. They just really don't. And that's why I did like Glenn's comment that, consumers, they don't care. What they're having higher wages. Yes, inflation is a problem, but it's coming down. So now the question becomes, well, are these companies just going to either A, start laying people off, which isn't going to happen because they need workers, or B, are they going to start underpaying them after they gave them all this money? No. So when inflation comes down, now they have more money in their pockets to spend more money. And what happens when people have money to spend? They spend it because nobody saves their money, right? So this could be the start of that run. I'm not saying that it is going to be, but I'm saying that these factors are loosening and they're starting to affect the market. The other point that I want to bring up too is that GDP is a funny thing, right? So we all know the negative 2 consecutive quarters as a way that GDP is, or not GDP, but recession is determined. But there's another definition that the government uses, right? And the government looks at a whole bunch of other factors along with that, right? So their definition of a recession is different. It's just what you see as being a recession, right? And this recession, if you want to call it that, is different from every other recession that we've ever had because of the unemployment numbers, because of the job openings. Those things, I think, are what keeping our economy afloat at the moment.
But I mean, you still do have big companies cutting people.
Yes, you do.
So, you kind of have both happening at the same time, and I guess that's where I'm at, right? Is inflation coming down in the short term, or is it really the start of the next big wave, right? Because at the same time of unemployment being low, you've got big companies like Coinbase cutting people. You've got big companies in and outside of crypto. I mean, maybe that was because they hired too many people, right? I mean, there's a lot of factors at play. It's tough to tell. I mean, I don't know.
I think it's okay. So for crypto, I think was a fear thing, right? We saw massive dips in crypto, and companies struggle because they over leveraged themselves. Compared to the stock market, it's a little bit more stable, right? So some of the bigger companies either slowed down or they cut, but we didn't see cuts the way we did in crypto companies, right? You saw crypto companies cutting by 10%, 20%, 30%, sometimes 40%. You didn't really see that in the stock market side. They might have cut by 5%, 2-3%, maybe slow down hiring a little bit, but it wasn't. I think that there was a big fear in crypto because companies weren't smart, right? These are, when you look at crypto companies, they're new, right? Whether you want to slice it which way you want to, you got Apple, who's been around for 30, 40 years. You've got crypto.com hasn't been around that long. So for them, their business, they over leverage, right? Or Celsius over leverages, and then they pay for that. And that's why I think you saw that in crypto, where you didn't really see that in the stock market.
Agreed. Zach, I want to go back to something that you and Oscar brought up. And I think, because for me, the landscape is so contradictory right now. And I think that's part of what the narrative here, at least as far as I'm seeing it. So Hobbs, I agree with you. I kind of agree with everybody. That's the funny part, right? I mean, and I think that's the overriding theme, is that every single one of us who said, every single one of you guys had a part of it, or you were right about it. And because that's what I think is interesting. Like what I saw is, Justin, I was with you yesterday. I was like, this is going to be bad. This is going to, even if we get 75 basis points, we're going to go down. But I was also kind of saying that it could have been built into the number. But I think ultimately like Glenn said earlier, what for me it's coming back down to is the person. And I'm talking about billions of the persons and what are they going to do or not going to do. And you have all this contradictory information. And Justin, I think you were right in that regard of Chairman Powell. He did an elegant job of placating the market so that the narrative now out to the people is that, hey, it may not be as bad and we're getting a little bit better. We have gas prices that have been coming down. I don't track, like food prices, but the odds are that hasn't rippled that far yet. But I think it's interesting. You have such contradictory information that people are still like, but then you have the on fire situation today where all the money's coming back into it. And I think Hobbs, maybe it was you that said it. I also think people right here, right now, actually don't care. No. I think people are like, I'm in. And now we all know how crypto is, right? And now this will be the last thing is that when it starts running, what do people do? FOMO. Now you got FOMO. Yeah. And it's such a wild time right now. It's crazy.
I just think people have made, you have to also remember when we're talking about job numbers, right? Wages are up to the highest point they've ever been, right? Stimulus checks, PPP loans, government bailouts, forbearance, mortgage forbearance, rentals, forgiveness, all this other stuff that came into it. What does that do? That adds extra money that's never been around. None of those things that I just mentioned has ever happened, right? Those are one-time occurrences in the history of our lifetimes, right? That being said, people have more money. They can sustain, and I'm not talking about, rich people. I'm talking about like you said, retail investors. They have more money. They've educated themselves. We have more people working on their own than ever in the history of this country. Like literally starting their own businesses, getting paid off of YouTube, getting paid off of TikTok, getting paid off different streams of revenue, right? Yeah. So now we're in a very, very strange situation where we have a unnaturally induced recession with an unnatural increase of revenue. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like recessions usually equals the poor get poorer, but in this recession, people actually have money, which is weird. So it's a very strange thing to call. And just to Oscar's point, I don't think we're going into a bull market. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is bull runs can happen even in bear markets, right? That's a thing, right? So as we start to come down, we reached a level. We saw $880 on Ethereum for the first time in a very, very, very long time, right? That particular level may be when we look back a year, 2 years from now, 2024, when we're running. What I'm saying about this particular bull run, because it has staying power, I'm saying that we may look back in 2024 and that $880 level on Ethereum may have been the bottom.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think that we will retrace. Absolutely. We're still, trying to figure out where we are. I think that we will retrace. I am no longer of the sentiment that we will reverse and come down further. That's my point.
Okay. So Oscar, you brought this up earlier. You mentioned in passing Bitcoin, and I think you said 16,000. Was that the number that you said, Oscar, or was it 19?
16, 17.
So
that's the bottom of 2022.
So because we were talking for a while 12 to 14. Mm-hmm. So are we thinking? So Oscar, this is for you and Hobbs, and then Zach. I know you have an opinion as well. What do y'all think as far as where that bottom is now? Is that what y'all think it is?
Well, that's a great question, and I've been covering this a lot in my individual studies. If you take a look at the rainbow chart, take a look at the weekly technical analysis, take a look at the 1456 day moving average that it's recommended by Saylor. Basically, we're at the bottom. When we touched $17,000, that was the bottom for Bitcoin according to the charts. Not saying, we this is one factor that I'm always saying in my lives. In my opinion, there's only one factor that can bring that to 10,000 Bitcoin, and that is if Russia launches any nuclear weapons. That's the only one.
I knew he was about to say that.
I do not see Bitcoin crashing that low, although I see it in the comments that I don't know anything. I mean, that's not the point. The point is that I don't really see any other reason why Bitcoin will crash that low unless that happens, right? Because everybody's going to panic. But yes, according to the charts, that could be 16, 17,000. And well, we just saw it at the peak of fear when you go to the index and it was 6. And that was like the first time in all these years at 6. I'm like, okay, I see it. I'll take it. But yeah, I mean, we're coming back based on the charts. That's good. My point is, if we are starting a recession officially, then I mean, I haven't been in that situation before, so I want to see how the markets react. Of course, we're going to go to 29s, 28s, 22s. I mean, we're going to be hovering 20s. So if that is going to be a big sideways trading, get your wallets ready because we're going to make a lot of money sideways trading. That's what I want to see. So, I mean, in my opinion, I'm waiting where the peak is going to be in this run, in this little week run, then crashing, coming back, fall back, and then starting back up again. But yeah, to answer your question, that's what it is.
So 16, 17, Hobbs, you want jump in?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much go off the Ethereum chart. I mean, Bitcoin is great. I love following it, but sometimes I just really like to look at Ethereum. One, it relates more to exactly what we do. What I mean when I say the bottom, right? Nobody knows where the bottom is. Let's be real. Like that's 100% the truth. Nobody can call the bottom. But what you can do is you can make an educated guess based off the information that we have, based off the history of the movement of the token or currency, right? If we're looking at Ethereum and we see the drop at 880, and we're already, like Glenn says, we're already a 2x from that mark, right? If you bought at 880, you're up a 2x, right? Period, point blank. That being said, do we really see? And Oscar really took the point right out of my mouth when he said, Russia or something. We need a huge event. There has to be an event that changes the fundamental direction of where we're headed. Because no, we're not headed in bull market territory, but we're definitely not headed back down 20, 30, 40% deeper. I think the bottom has been touched. And I find it very hard to believe that we'll touch that bottom again. I could be wrong. I don't know. But where I see Bitcoin in the range where I have it, I think I have it above 19,000 up to about 25,000 is the zone that I have it trading in right about now. If we break out of that 25,000 range, 26,000 range, then it's going to raise an eyebrow for me because I'm curious. Ethereum just broke into a new zone of mine, which was 1,600 to about 1,800. 1,600. Right. I got it down to a T, but 1,600 to about 1,800. So now I'm looking at this new zone that we're trading in just to see how it behaves in that area. If we can find enough volume, which today was very impressive, I would like to see us find enough volume to break into that next zone of trading. Those are just levels you start to watch. But as far as like calling the bottom, I think we've already seen it. That's just my honest opinion. Based off everything that I'm seeing in the overall economy as of now, I think we've probably seen the bottom.
So already. You're saying, because you really, I'm glad you led with Ethereum, right? Because so you think that 880 is the bottom for Ethereum that we've already touched. You think that's where it's at, and if we get a retracement now with Ethereum, what's kind of yours and Justin's kind of bottom now today for Ethereum?
Well, traditionally retracements are about 20 to 30%.
Okay. So
if we come down, you figure if we get to about 2,000, we come back to 1,700. We get to 1,700, we come back to 14. You know what I mean? Like I don't really see us dropping back down. Like that's a, you know what I mean? Like that's a significant drop from where we are currently, right? A retracement is normal. A reversal is because something has changed. Retracement is like taking a breather. You went on a jog, you got to take a breather before you hit that next lap, right?
Yep.
So that's normal. That's normal trading activity. And to Oscar's point, I think it's normal after a bullish run, which I think we will continue this run into the weekend. After that, then I fully expect us to kind of cool off and hit a consolidation period where we're just kind of trading sideways for a little while before we decide which way we're going to go. And I think that decision will be made closer and closer to that CPI data coming out.
Yep. So this is a good comment from Ada. Thought I heard somebody say ETH could come down to 600 to 500. Yes, you've heard me say that. You've heard Zach say it. You probably heard Hobbs say it. But I think you have to understand it was before the events of the last 48 hours, if you will. I think that the playing field, Zach, your opinion, the playing field's been changed. I mean, we're and to Hobbs and Oscar's and Justin's point, which thank you guys. I love. I just sit here and listen to you guys. That's really cool. All right, good. So, Zach, yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean, so what got me thinking is, and I want your guys' thoughts on this. Like, we had so many of these, dare I say, like black swan type of events. Like, how much of that impacted crypto? Like, would Bitcoin even have hit 17.6? I know it's the hypothetical game, but you know what I mean. Like the Luna stuff, the Three Arrows Capital, the Voyager mess, all these things that happen isolated, like inside crypto, right? You wonder, like, what was the bottom if we didn't have any of these black swan type events? I mean, sure, we were in a bear market, right? According to traditional stock market and crypto, but you wonder, I mean, like to your guys' point, if we don't have one of those again, sure, I think we could trade sideways for a really long time here, especially up till September, right? Until the feds tell us what they're going to do again.
Right? I think it's hard. It's hard to say because you're right. A lot of the bad catalysts that happen came outside of the economic realm of things like 3AC, like Celsius, like Terra Luna. All those added to the fear of crypto, and you saw it everywhere on news channels, them saying, oh, this is the end of crypto. Crypto isn't stable. Crypto, don't put your money into crypto. And that drives institutional traders away, that drives retail traders away, and that's what we need to come back. But I also think that it was a good thing, right? Because then we shook out all those people that were bad in the space. And not to mention in the DeFi space too. I mean, Hobbs and I were just talking about today. How many projects have you guys seen lately to come out to rug pull? I mean, we haven't seen it in a couple months. So point. Now is a chance for good companies to come into the space and to right. Like what is saying. Now it's time for good companies to come into the space and get in and actually change things. But not
just that. It's almost like somebody was handing you a card from the
I learned from the best. The four other people up here with me. I learned from y'all. You know what I'm saying? I can only take away what I can take away. But in all honesty, though, like as far as the bottom goes, I think that Bitcoin and Ethereum and everything else took a big hit from those, but now it gave people a perfect opportunity to get in at levels that people would have never thought they would see. I mean, people were calling for 100K Bitcoin, and look where we are now. A lot of people are going to come up very nicely on this opportunity, and for those people who ran away, they'll look back on it and be like, damn, I wish I would have gotten in back there. So it is what it is.
So Zach, I mean, you didn't have a hand come in from you. Here, let me see if I can do it here like this. So Zach, to Glenn's point, brands wait, and what Glenn's talking about is we have a lot of brands. I mean, obviously companies that are really, how I'm envisioning it, want to get into crypto, maybe partnerships, things of that nature. So what is your 2 cents, Zach, on Glenn's comment? And kind of to reiterate what Justin was talking about.
So when we say brands, do we mean like big companies like or like Amazon's, the Apple?
I think, because here's what it is. We haven't seen that way. We haven't seen that wave yet, right? We've seen these partnerships. We've seen payment integration partners paving the way from crypto to the Amazons, the Walmarts, the Shopping.io partnership, with some of the other big brands, et cetera. I think, but I think that's what Glenn's comment really is about. And that's something I haven't really thought about is big brands or medium-sized brands that want to maybe come into crypto. So that's it. Yeah.
They're going to get in. I mean, I think it was late 2021 where I was doing a bunch of stuff on like Amazon hiring 3 crypto experts, right? Or blockchain experts, right? There was a lot of that, especially is still during the bull run, of course, right? So that stuff was more prevalent, but it was like Walmart hiring blockchain expert to see where they can go in crypto. So it's coming. My big question with that, like with the really big dogs, is are they going to adopt current cryptos that are out there, or are they going to create their own?
Amazon will create their own. Walmart will adopt. I'm just going down the list, right? Yeah. Amazon's like, we're going to own our stuff,
I don't know, guys, if you saw Facebook's revenues as well, that they went down because they're, focusing a lot on virtual reality. So in my opinion, it's a good indicator, right? How the general population feel about that, kind of like the wave of blockchain and this technology. Still, there's a lot of work to do. But it's good that, remember when Facebook transitioned to Meta, Mana and Sandbox exploded. That was insane back in the day, and now things have changed, right? But eventually, we'll come to your point, Austin.
I would say this to that point. When I think of crypto, I think store value, I think payment functionality, right? That's basically how we view it. So I would actually disagree with both of you when you say Amazon would make their own token, because the question is, if Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and all of these companies that we use for payment currently, if they already have something established that's safe and that's been proven and that works, why reinvent the wheel? Why not just adopt that as payment, right? So if they look into DeFi and they find a company or project that's done it right, gone through all the P's and Q's, dotted their I's, crossed their T's, and they've proven a concept that works, right? Why then would larger brands try to steer and say, oh, we're just going to compete with them? Instead, they would just say, this DeFi project has done it the right way. Let's merger and make them even big. Not make them even bigger, but now we can put our feet into DeFi and feel safe in DeFi.
Okay.
So,
all right. I love dissension. So here we go. Amazon's a great example, right? And so here's what I would say. Look at the evolution of Amazon. So I agree, but I also disagree, because here it is. I think it's company specific. Look at what Amazon did. Started off its books, blah, blah, blah. And then used UPS postal service for 1 million years, right? What have they done now? They expanded the footprint into everything else, and then they ultimately leveraged those partnerships to grow their business. And then what did they do? They went and created their own logistics supply chain. I remember the day when Amazon came out and said they were buying all their own planes, and everybody thought that they were freaking nuts.
Yeah.
And they did it themselves. So I think Amazon's the unique scenario. So I think, Hobbs, you're 1,000,000% right. I think when Amazon opens the door, but you're also wrong in one regard. When Amazon opens the door to crypto officially, you will be able to pay with any type of crypto you want. But I also would not shock me if Amazon came out with their own native token on their network. Yeah. They're the only ones I really say that about. Do you see Walmart doing that? No. Amazon, because it's Amazon. So that's my rebuttal.
I would just say that they would want to limit the liability, knowing that there still is danger in crypto.
Sure. Right? But that's why you haven't seen them it's why you haven't seen Amazon natively say, here you go yet. Yes, you can use these payment gateways to do it, but you not natively. And
right.
They might be waiting for regulation too.
Yep.
And there you go. That's it.
Ding, there it is.
Ding, ding. He's just waiting to drop
let's
that.
Let's get like a focus group together. Let's hire some crypto experts until they decide how the hell they're going to regulate
and
this.
And then the day regulation hits, it's going to go, here you go, and they're ready to go.
They're ready to go. And
Yeah. All right. Well, we beat that one into the ground. There we go. So let's see what else is. I like this one. I had it up. Bitcoin has been driven by the law of scarcity. Store value will change the trajectory. Value prop crypto moves from speculation. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's the evolution of crypto, right? Y'all have any? Oscar, you want to input here on Glenn's comment?
Well, I had a friend who asked me the difference between fiat and Bitcoin. And I'm like, well, I think fiat is not going anywhere higher, and Bitcoin at a limited supply of 21 million. I do like that a lot. And then he realized, oh, that's true. There's only 21 million. So I think this is a technology that it's pretty much new for a lot of people that are not into cryptocurrency. If we can have all these conversations and companies do so much in 1 year or less, 2022, 2021, with 5 to 6% in the world involving crypto, I think in the upcoming cycle before halving 2023, I cannot wait to see that explode. I went to Consensus in Austin 2022 in June, and people never talked about the price of Bitcoin. It was just about the development and building and how progress has been made. I had a conversation with Charles Hoskinson. I talked to Tyler Spalding from Flex Network, just some pretty OP people, and they're building. They're really putting their head down and then not worrying about the price of Bitcoin. And if that's what's happening in a bear market, I cannot wait to see what's going to happen in a bull market eventually when we get there. So we have savings, we have banks and everything, real estate. There's so many ways to store your value, your equity. Like Michael Saylor says, Bitcoin is energy, right? How are you going to transition that energy in 100 years from now? Fiat is not going to make it. Peso is where I'm coming from in Mexico, but it's not going to make it too. Right. So I think Bitcoin it's a good option, probably the best.
What do you guys think is standing in the way of the entire crypto market exploding?
Just about time, in my opinion. Like, I think we're getting rid of the wrong people and the wrong projects in a bear market. The good people are staying. More people with interests are coming in. There must be some type of education as well, which that's why Clear Cryptos, you're watching this video right now, so you're getting educated. And we're also learning on a daily basis. So I think it's just about time. I look at the 2001 boom. At 2001, Microsoft was, very, back in the early days, Amazon too. But at the end of the day, I think we're going to have a nice comeback. It's going to be looking very good. But in my opinion, it's just about, more time in the market.
Okay. Justin, what's your opinion? What's standing in the way of crypto? And I don't care, market capitalization, whatever angle you want to talk about.
I think proof of concept as a currency, for one, and what goes with that is safety and security, right? People want to know that their money is safe and that's secure. A lot of times, we see it every day that, this person got scammed this, or this person got scammed that, and there's no backing for crypto, right? Like, if I lose my crypto, it's gone and I can't get it back, right? Unless somebody is nice enough to help me out to, if you get into a project and you get scammed, I've seen lately a lot of projects will try to help to, give you that money back. But if you're talking about Bitcoin or ETH, you're not getting that money back. It's gone, right? So there has to be some type of federal backing to the currency, so that if that does happen, at least that, hey, I was insured up to this amount, so I'm not completely out of money.
So you're talking about surety. You're similar to the FDIC program for banks, et cetera.
Yep.
Okay, Zach, what's your opinion?
So I agree with both what Oscar and Justin said, but I'll go another direction just to provide like another angle. I'm like a communication guy, right? I mean, so just the way Bitcoin and crypto's talked about, right? In mainstream media, the way it's been addressed, like what are the predominant themes? If you ask somebody who's not invested, if you ask somebody that's in like that 95% of people not in crypto, and you ask them, hey, what do you know about crypto? What are the things you're going to hear? Oh, it's a scam. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's used for bad actors. Oh, it's used to run drug money. And that's what you hear, right? Like that's the narrative. So that takes a long time to switch. People said the same thing about the internet too, right? It'll never work. They have all these flaws, right? Yeah, it's a pipe dream, whatever. And look what happened. I think this is that next revolution, man. I think this is 20 years fast forward. You look at the adoption curves, they're identical. In fact, crypto is even being adopted faster than the internet was. But there's going to be bumps along the road, and we're in one right now.
So Hobbs, you're next, but I want to comment. By the way, fiat used for all those as well. So I just wanted to say that, right? Fiat laundering. Anyway, so
exactly.
Yeah. So Hobbs, what's your opinion, man? Same question.
I just think we need that major catalyst, man. Like, if you guys remember when, what took Bitcoin up to 68, 70,000, it was the announcement of that Bitcoin ETF, right? When you can get people to invest in Bitcoin and Ethereum, yes, mass adoption will be awesome. It will. But how do you get somebody that's 90 years old, 80 years old to put money in Bitcoin and Ethereum? Or somebody that's 30, 40 years old that never, ever want to open up a portfolio whatsoever? Well, you offer them ETFs, right? When those ETFs get to a point where, retirement money everyday workers' compensation is going into a fund that also buys Bitcoin on a daily, yearly, hourly basis. That's a game changer. That is when institutional money, regardless if that happens before or after regulation,
right?
That is when institutional money, it's too lucrative for them to say no to. Right. They're gonna stick their fingers in that gold pot because now they know for a fact that's gonna be something that they know is gonna grow in value because they know it's a supply and demand, right? If the supply is only ever going to be 21 million, but now I have multiple ETFs that are purchasing this asset on, daily, yearly, you know what I mean? If that's going to happen, the only thing that can happen is the demand will increase, which in turn will increase the price. So, on top of the mass adoption, I just think we need that big major announcement that will come either before or after mass adoption. But that announcement that we've entered into the stock world and we become that third, big asset in the market, that's going to be huge, man. So,
yeah. And I think that was a really, so I didn't have like written down as some grand question, but I think that's really how we're going to end on this. That was some fantastic debate. And ironically, Oscar, I expected you to say the R word, regulation, and my last guy, Hobbs, is the one who got there. But y'all all talked about it in different ways and formats. And I think that ultimately, for me, it is, I love that, Oscar, you led with education, because that truly is, it's all part of it. And my 2 cents is that, Hobbs, to reiterate what you said, and I've said this about in videos, is that there are billions of people who have trillions of dollars in brokerages across the world waiting for that financial advisor to go, I've got this great new thing for you. That will be the unlock. That'll be the catalyst. But you bring up a good point, Hobbs. Is that going to happen before regulation or after? That's another topic for another dialogue. So I'm going to end that. I'm going to end on that note. We're 46 minutes. Gentlemen, thank you. I didn't know I'd be the leader. I'm just the guy who started the stream. Usually it's Zach.
You knew you was going to be the leader.
Zach. I'm a control freak. It's hard for me to give up.
It's all good, man. We don't mind. We don't mind.
It was fun, man.
It was a good time. So good discussion, guys. So for everybody here, okay, so here, I'm going to go back. Oscar, I'm going to give you a minute to think about it before I throw it to you. So I want to end on Clear. So Justin, you talked a little bit about it, but you didn't. So Oscar, give a little your opinion of what Clear's going to do to help maybe address some of these things we talked about, or education. I'm going to let you go, and then each of you respectively, and we're going to go Oscar, Justin, Zach, etc. So Oscar, you're up, and then we'll wrap
absolutely, everybody. Well, I think the first thing is that whoever is watching right now or later, the first thing that we need to do, everybody here started their journey in crypto years ago, months ago, by doing it on our own, watching somebody else's video, just reading a lot, articles, going through different mistakes, losing money or what have you. Well, Clear Cryptos is trying to save you that time by just going exactly what you need to learn, and of course open the dialogue. That's why if you go to the Clear Cryptos website, you're going to be looking at the Learn tab, and that's where you're going to be looking at all these different content that we have prepared for you. Plus there's other tools coming in, interviews as well, and more announcements that I think is going to make a lot of people excited. Personally, building the community and letting everybody come to the Discord channel, that is paramount. So if you haven't done so, go ahead and take a look at it, because we're waiting for you.
Yeah, so you can get to their socials either on their Twitter page or through actually probably on this channel here. So because that's definitely hit the Discord group, guys, because that's where all the comments and all the commentary is going. Justin, you're up, brother.
I think I'm going to echo the same sentiments as the question that I just answered about security. And I think one way that we're doing that is also by education, right? Because there are so many projects out there that, not so much now, hopefully they don't come back, but still you need to learn how to protect yourself. And so I know Clear Cryptos is going to have a platform for that, but also as educators, we are also trying to help you protect yourself as well, because at the end of the day, you can only be the one to protect yourself, right? Like nobody else is going to do it for you. So being able to do your research, being able to know the charts and find good points of entry, and being able to know when to take profit, know when to cut your losses, all those are things that I know each and every one of us up here are trying to preach, each and every single day in our videos. And I know that Clear Cryptos definitely has a clear plan on that. So, that's what I'm most excited for.
Cool. All right, Zach, you're up.
Yeah, it's so hard to pick just like one thing, right? I mean, there's so many things that Clear is going to do, and I know a lot of people have been saying, when's it going to launch? When's it going to launch? We don't have a date yet. We're going to get there. I mean, I think people are going to see, though, when we do get there, there aren't a lot of teams doing the due diligence that this team's doing and putting the right people in place. I mean, so many projects. Here's another thing I'll say. They kind of go after like the 5%, right? They go after the people already into crypto. One of the things I loved about this vision was, no, this is still about the 5%, but really it's about getting more people in through the educational platform and making it easy, right? Having an easy on-ramp into crypto. We talk about how difficult it is just to get started. I think that's going to be a game changer, because when we were talking, what are some of the things that keep people back, right? It's not knowing how to get in. It's the security issues that Justin talked about, the issues that we have with teaching somebody MetaMask, right? Which we'll have some tutorials on the channel. But sorry, I try to keep it to one thing. I think I mentioned 3.
Oh no, it's 8.
Austin was counting.
Well, yeah, man.
Hold on. Oh, I'm back. Oh, sorry. Oh, excuse me.
I was about to call for my Red Bulls. Hey,
Zach's still talking. Okay, no.
I thought it was a mimosa. Can I get a mimosa over here?
Yeah, you get my mimosa.
Over here. Hey, at least we have fun. I don't know if we got. Tom, go, brother. You're up.
Cut me off.
Cut me off.
Okay, all right, there we go.
Yeah, so I guess for me, again, I go back to a previous question that I answered here as well, is, DeFi, right? It's a place that, some people count it out, right? Now that we're here and we're growing, we need that leader, right? We need that place to everybody can come and feel safe and say, okay, now we can build from here. I think that's the vision overall that Clear Cryptos is trying to have, right? Clear Cryptos, as laid out to majority of this, I mean, the entire panel here, the educators that are here, we're here for a reason. We're here because we see the opportunity to be able to educate, but at the same time grow and be that beacon for the DeFi space that says, hey, this particular company has done it the right way, took the right, take the time to do the due diligence the right way, and then come out with products that show that we're not just, some here to take your money. Thank you so much for the money. We're out. No.
Yeah.
Clear Cryptos is here to change the space and not just say, hey, we're revolutionary. They're here to make sure that they do it the right way. So when the new people or the old people will be the one that's going to tell you. They're going to say, oh shit, that's different, right?
Yeah.
The new people are going to be the ones that say, oh, this is easy. This is crypto, So that's the reaction that I want to get when I go to my babysitter, when I go to, the moving guys, and they ask me what I do, and I tell them about crypto, and they're just like, what? I want to be able to just pull this out and say, hey, look, this is what I do. This is crypto. This is how to do it, especially if it's DeFi. Blue chips, a little easier, right?
Yeah.
But I think Clear Cryptos is looking to be that merger between the two to make it all easy, and easy to use. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm excited about the educational channel, mainly because I love to educate. I mean, we're going live on our show in about 30 minutes, but I had to come on here and join. I hadn't been on with Oscar before. I know you two guys all the time. I love to have conversations with you guys. So definitely wanted to come on here and, talk about actually the topic that I was going to talk about tonight. So thanks, guys. I have to come out with my own content tonight. So thanks for stealing my topics tonight.
Well, you can just steal everything we just talked about here. There you go. You got to do that. I'm not going to add anything. You guys did a fantastic job, and we're coming up on an hour. So we're going to end on that note. So, gentlemen, thank you for your time. And actually, I'm going to end with just this. I thought, there you go, Glenn, shot across the bow. We'll end with that. I just thought the rest would be courteous. Elderly Austin, let him drive it. That is true. I have to go get in my wheelchair now and go, navigate.
Don't forget them flip-flops. flops. Don't forget them flip flops.
Yeah. I want to remind everybody that Glenn's older than me. Oh, there we go. I'm going to end on that note. All right. All right. So we'll see you guys.
All right, ladies and gents. Y'all have a good one.
Bye.
See you guys.